The Skinwalker is a legendary creature in Native American folklore, particularly in the Navajo tribe. It is believed to be a malevolent shapeshifter that has the ability to transform into any animal it desires. The creature is said to be able to take on the appearance of any animal, such as a coyote, wolf, or bear. It is also said to have the ability to transform into a human, often taking the form of a loved one or someone familiar to its intended victim. The Skinwalker is said to use its powers for evil, often using its ability to shape-shift to infiltrate human communities and cause harm. It is also believed to have the ability to possess and control the minds of its victims, causing them to act in strange and dangerous ways. The legend is deeply rooted in Navajo culture and is believed to be the result of practicing witchcraft or dark magic.
In Greek mythology, the phoenix is a mythical bird that is said to be reborn from its own ashes. It is described as a large, beautiful bird with colorful feathers that lives for hundreds of years before it dies and is reborn. When it feels its death approaching, it builds a nest of twigs and sets itself on fire, only to be reborn from the ashes. The phoenix is a symbol of immortality, resurrection, and renewal. It is often associated with the sun and is said to have a beautiful, melodious song. The myth of the phoenix continues to inspire artists and writers around the world today. The Witch of Endor. The Witch of Endor is a story from the Old Testament book of 1 Samuel, chapter 28. It tells of King Saul, who seeks out a witch to summon the spirit of the prophet Samuel for guidance during a war with the Philistines. The spirit of Samuel appears and predicts Saul's defeat and death. The story of the Witch of Endor has been interpreted in various ways by different religious and cultural traditions. Some see it as a condemnation of necromancy, the practice of communicating with the dead, while others see it as evidence of the power of God to communicate with the living and the dead. The story has been interpreted in various ways and has been adapted in popular culture. These are 10 most terrifying dolls in horror history. Chucky, Child's Play, 1988. Annabelle, The Conjuring, 2013. Robbie's Clown, Poltergeist, 1982. Jigsaw, Saw, 2004. Brahms, The Boy, 2016. Benson, Toy Story 4, 2019. The story of the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, found in the book of Genesis, describes how two cities were destroyed by fire and brimstone from heaven due to their wickedness. God sent two angels to Sodom to see if the people were truly as wicked as he had heard. The angels arrived at Lot's house and were welcomed, but the men of Sodom demanded that Lot give them the angels for sexual relations. The angels revealed their identities, struck the men of Sodom with blindness, and told Lot to flee the city with his family because God was going to destroy it. Lot and his family fled, but Lot's wife looked back and turned into a pillar of salt. Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed, and the story is often used as an example of God's wrath against sin and disobedience. These are 3 creepy angels that you've never known. Ophanim. Ophanim are celestial beings in Abrahamic religions, described as wheel-like creatures covered in eyes and associated with the divine throne of God. They are sometimes regarded as the highest rank of angels and associated with divine chariots and the cyclical nature of time. Cherubim. Cherubim are a type of angelic being depicted in various religious texts as winged creatures with multiple faces, associated with guarding holy places and often shown as divine messengers. Seraphim. Seraphim are a type of angelic being described in Abrahamic religions, often depicted with multiple faces and 6 wings, associated with praising God and divine enlightenment. They are considered to be one of the highest orders of angels and are associated with divine light. The angel of death is also the Antichrist. The belief that the angel of death is also the Antichrist is not a commonly accepted belief in mainstream religious traditions. The angel of death is typically viewed as a servant of God, who is responsible for separating the soul from the body at the time of death. The Antichrist, on the other hand, is seen as a malevolent figure who will emerge in the end times to lead a rebellion against God. While beliefs about these figures can vary among different religious traditions and interpretations, the idea that the angel of death and the Antichrist are one and the same is not widely held.
These are the biblically accurate angels that you've never known: seraphim, cherubim, thrones, dominions, powers, virtues, principalities, archangels, angels. They were made to serve believers as ministering spirits. Think about the strength of God who produced these beings. They exhibit His majesty and wisdom in a unique way. Do good to express thankfulness to God as well.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove. I got night.
The beheading of John the Baptist is a biblical event recorded in the New Testament. John the Baptist was a prophet who had been preaching in the wilderness, calling people to repent and prepare for the coming of the Messiah. He spoke out against King Herod Antipas, who had married his brother's wife, Herodias, and was eventually beheaded at the request of Herodias' daughter, Salome, who pleased King Herod with her dancing. Although Herod was reluctant to order John's execution, he felt bound by his promise to Salome. John's disciples buried his body, and Jesus later praised him as a great prophet. The beheading of John the Baptist is an important event in the Christian tradition and is celebrated as a feast day on August 29th in the Western Church and on January 7th in the Eastern Church. Pan Hu is a legendary figure from Chinese mythology. The story goes that he was a loyal and intelligent hunting dog owned by the Emperor of China during the Tang Dynasty. One day, while on a hunting trip, Pan Hu caught a magical fox, and as a reward, the emperor granted him the ability to transform into a human. After his transformation, Pan Hu became known for his wisdom, bravery, and loyalty. He continued to serve the emperor as a trusted advisor and friend, and he also fell in love with a human woman, with whom he had children. Anubis is an ancient Egyptian god associated with mummification, embalming, and the afterlife. He is typically depicted as a man with the head of a jackal or a dog, often holding a staff or ant in his hand. Anubis was believed to guide souls through the underworld and to weigh the hearts of the deceased against a feather, determining whether they were worthy of entering the afterlife. As a god of embalming, he was also responsible for ensuring that the bodies of the dead were properly preserved for their journey into the afterlife. Anubis was one of the most important gods in the Egyptian pantheon and was often worshipped alongside other gods such as Osiris and Ra. Gumiho, also known as the nine-tailed fox, is a mythical creature from Korean folklore. It is believed to be a fox that has lived for at least 1,000 years, possessing magical powers such as shape-shifting, illusion, and possession. The Gumiho is said to be a beautiful creature with 9 tails, and it can take on the appearance of a human to seduce and prey on humans. According to legend, if a gumiho lives for 1,000 years without harming any humans, it can become human by eating the liver of 1,000 men. Gumihos are often portrayed in Korean dramas and movies, where they are depicted as powerful and dangerous creatures that can only be tamed by a brave hero. The gumiho legend has also been adapted in popular culture outside of Korea, such as in the Japanese manga series Naruto and the American TV show Teen Wolf.
Psyche is also a goddess from Greek mythology. She is the goddess of the soul, and her name means breath or life. According to mythology, she was a mortal princess who was so beautiful that people began to worship her instead of the goddess of love, Aphrodite. As punishment, Aphrodite commanded her son, Eros, to make Psyche fall in love with a monster. However, Eros fell in love with Psyche himself and helped her to overcome the challenges that Aphrodite set for her. Eventually, Zeus granted Psyche immortality and allowed her to marry Eros. The story of Psyche and Eros is often interpreted as an allegory for the soul's journey towards enlightenment and divine love.
The cruel curse of Medusa. Medusa was a gorgon, a monstrous creature with snakes for hair and the ability to turn people to stone with her gaze. She was once a beautiful mortal woman who caught the eye of the sea god, Poseidon, and became his lover. As punishment for her affair with the sea god Poseidon, she was feared and avoided by all who knew of her and became a symbol of terror and evil. In one version of the myth, the hero Perseus was sent on a quest to slay Medusa and bring back her head as a gift for the king. Medusa remains a popular figure in art, literature, and popular culture, often portrayed as a symbol of female power and independence. Sekhmet, the lioness. According to the legend, Sekhmet is an ancient Egyptian goddess depicted as a woman with the head of a lioness. She was created by the sun god Ra as a fierce warrior to punish his enemies. Sekhmet also had healing powers and was often invoked for protection and strength. Today, she remains a popular figure in modern Egyptian mythology and symbolizes the power of the natural world. Poseidon is a powerful god. In Greek mythology, who is associated with the sea, earthquakes, and horses. He is one of the 12 Olympian gods and the brother of Zeus and Hades. Poseidon is often depicted as a bearded man carrying a trident, and is known for his temper and protective nature over his territory. He was worshipped as a god of fertility, but also blamed for natural disasters such as earthquakes. Poseidon played significant roles in several myths, including the stories of Theseus and the Minotaur, and the Trojan War. Overall, Poseidon represents the immense power and unpredictability of the sea and the natural world. In Egyptian mythology, the phoenix was known as the Bennu bird, which was believed to be an embodiment of the god Osiris. It was often depicted as a large bird, with red and golden feathers and a long tail, and was associated with the sun and the god Ra. The Bennu was believed to live for 500 years before it died and was reborn, and was often associated with creation, the afterlife, and eternal life. The phoenix is still associated with themes of rebirth and renewal, and the Egyptian myth of the Bennu bird continues to inspire artists and writers around the world.
The chupacabra is a legendary creature from Latin American folklore that is said to prey on livestock, particularly goats and sheep, and drink their blood. It is described as a small, hairless creature with spines or quills running down its back, and it is often reported to have large, glowing red eyes. The first reported sightings of the chupacabra occurred in Puerto Rico in the mid-1990s, and the legend quickly spread throughout Latin America and the United States. Despite numerous reported sightings and claims of livestock attacks, there is no scientific evidence to support the existence of the chupacabra, and many experts believe that the legend may have been inspired by other animals or simply be a product of myth and folklore. Regardless of its origin, the legend of the Chupacabra has become a popular subject in popular culture and has inspired countless works of fiction, including films, TV shows, and books. The Kraken is a legendary sea monster from Scandinavian folklore that is said to dwell off the coasts of Norway and Greenland. The creature is often described as a giant squid or octopus with massive tentacles that can reach up to 100 feet long. The Kraken is said to be so large that it can easily capsize ships and drag them down to the depths of the ocean. The origins of the Kraken legend are unclear, but it may have been inspired by sightings of real-life giant squid, which are known to inhabit deep waters. The Kraken has been featured in numerous works of fiction, including the writings of Jules Verne in the Pirates of the Caribbean film series. Despite the Kraken's fearsome reputation, there is no scientific evidence to support its existence, and it is generally regarded as a mythical creature. However, the legend of the Kraken has continued to capture the imagination of people around the world, and it remains a popular subject in literature, film, and other forms of popular culture.
Shikigami, the dark side of Japanese mythology. Shikigami are supernatural creatures or spirits in Japanese mythology that are created through a ritual of binding the spirit of an animal or human to a piece of paper or a doll, granting the sorcerer control over them, while they are often portrayed as loyal servants or protectors. There is also a darker side to their mythology. In some stories, Shikigami are depicted as vengeful and malevolent beings that can harm their master's enemies. They are also a popular theme in Japanese fiction, particularly in anime, manga, and video games, where they are often portrayed as powerful spirits or creatures that can be summoned to aid characters in battles or other endeavors. Tanuki, the most mischievous Japanese mythical creature. Tanuki, also known as raccoon dogs, are a type of Japanese animal that are depicted in folklore and mythology as mischievous and magical creatures. Tanuki are known for their ability to shapeshift into human form, objects, or animals. In Japanese art and culture, they are often depicted holding a bottle of sake and a promissory note or a bag of money, symbolizing their playful and mischievous nature. Tanuki have also become popular characters in Japanese pop culture, appearing in video games, anime, and manga. The mythical creature Thunderbird. The mythical creature from the traditions of several Native American tribes, particularly those of the Pacific Northwest. It is described as a large bird with powerful wings that can create thunder and lightning. The Thunderbird is considered a sacred symbol of spiritual energy, strength, protection, and renewal, and is associated with the ability to create storms and control the weather. It is often depicted in art as a large bird with sharp talons and an impressive wingspan, sometimes with lightning bolts or other symbols of power and energy. Today, the Thunderbird remains an important symbol in many Native American cultures. The power of a single act of kindness. A busy street with people rushing past each other. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in our own lives and forget about the people around us. But sometimes, all it takes is a single act of kindness to change someone's day, or even their life. In this case, it was a simple act of kindness that made all the difference. That small act of kindness sparked a chain reaction of positivity. The homeless person's mood lifted, and they went on to have a better day. That small act of kindness even inspired the homeless person to pay it forward. And just like that, a single act of kindness had a ripple effect, spreading positivity and goodwill throughout the community. Remember, every small act of kindness can make a big impact. Spread love and kindness wherever you go.